We do record all of these meetings. For those of y'all who are new to Saltbox, welcome. We've got quite a few new faces here, so super excited. Oh, this is great. I don't know if y'all can see in the chat down below, but Tyler is giving everyone a hello. Tyler's our CEO. So, we do these periodically, different webinars on various topics, but this one's by far my favorite, where we get to interact with each other across our now 3 locations. So, the format is pretty much going to be, we'll go through, you have 3 to 5 minutes to kind of chat about what you're working on. I'll introduce you guys so you'll know who's going to go next. And then at the end, we'll just kind of have a open discussion for everyone else who's on the call, and they can chime in and ask about your products. And then in the chat box, I will share every person who's presenting, I'll share your website. And then if you guys want to add anything else, just let me know and I'm happy to share it. And if I see anyone raise their hand, I'll just politely interrupt you and moderate the call just to keep it running smoothly. So starting off, kicking it off, we're going to have Miss C. Hi.
Hi.
So C is one of our Seattle members, actually moving in this week. And C is our very, very first Seattle member. So that's exciting. I was fortunate enough to meet C in person in Seattle. So it's great to see you again virtually. C recently recently moved from Austin, and she's pivoted her business as a result of this move. So I'm just very excited to hear from you today.
Yeah, so thank you for having me. So I am big news today. I actually just got incorporated this morning. So woo, nice. It happened. It finally happened. So yeah, that's really awesome. But I joined Saltbox because there's 3 areas of my business, and just one specific area is for merch. And before last year, I actually started off as in like Etsy shop. I'm sure many of you guys may have been there somewhere, along your journey at one point, just kind of like feeling it a bit. There's definitely like Printful and Printify stuff, but I almost had to cancel hundreds of orders on Mother's Day because of the massive queue. So from that experience, I realized I have to do everything by myself at home or like whatever. And moving to Seattle, I was trying to find a warehouse, honestly, just like a space, some kind of work loft of some sort to just pop in there, and grow in that respect. But when Saltbox came out, like I got targeted by the Facebook ad. I don't know how you guys got targeted, but it worked for me. And I was like, yes, I need this. I immediately scheduled for a tour, an appointment, met Leslie, and basically signed that day and on that spot. And I'm so grateful because just the fulfillment part of having, UPS, USPS, and FedEx come Monday to Friday was just like so relieving. And then the second most relieving part was actually having people, staff on hand to help for any like overflow and stuff like that, which I'm a one-man band right now, even though I just incorporated one-man band. So it's really a sense of relief for me. As you guys know, this fall, this winter is going to be hella serious. It's going to be amazing. So scaling up, you just never know what's going to happen. So it's a sense of relief for me. And it's almost like insurance, I guess to say, and almost like, especially how there's other, rooms as well. I can always, like, if I scale up, I can go into a different, maybe it's all filled up, I don't know, but just the opportunity to be able to move in that respect is amazing. So that's why I joined Saltbox. And then my favorite product that I sell, really what I work on right now is apparel. So I did B2C and now moving towards B2B. So working with my current clients in my design studio who has very large audiences, and basically going to be making merch for them. So I'm switching my business model a little bit. So that's that. So it's basically just t-shirts, all sorts of t-shirts using Bella Canvas. If you guys have any questions about that or, whatever, I'm more than happy to answer any questions you may have, from production to fulfillment to customers, whatever.
You make those, right, in your suite?
Yeah, I actually heat press it and all that. I cut out the vinyls and everything. If it's like a full color kind of situation, then I'll utilize like Transfer Express. I get all my wholesale from SMS Activewear. Make sure you have a reseller certificate. Which probably all have that at this point. And then, yeah, I grab all my vinyl and everything from stalls. I'm actually upgrading my heat press to a commercial one. So that's what I'm doing there. And I'm just sticking with the shirts for now because I just need to ease back into the merch life, right? Because because and then yeah, so and then what would you say is your superpower? So I think my superpower, I haven't been officially diagnosed yet, guys, but that's gonna be like on the 9th, like really soon. I'm pretty sure I have some tendencies of ADHD. um, Yo, what can I say? So my whole career was in advertising. I'm a big was in advertising agencies left, right, and center, like globally and everything. And so being a producer and everything, I mean, you know, you're in a volatile environment. You have to make decisions on the spot, $1 million decisions, that impacts people's lives, jobs, and everything. And it affects everything. So that's kind of where I really excel. And then switching into being an entrepreneur, I was like, whoa, what is happening? Because you're alone, right? So, well, most of the time. So that's what I think my superpower is just really getting into it, hyper focused flow, is being super dedicated with my time and being passionate with what I want to do. And that's how I've been able to get to this point. And a question, something I would like to learn from our community at Saltbox. Honestly, I just want to meet you guys all one time, you know, one day, you know, virtually, whatever you want to do. I want to hear your guys' stories. I want to be able to share, you know, my tips and tricks and vice versa. Like, you know, entrepreneurship is such a lonely thing. I've learned how to create like a support network now and learn how to meet new people and stuff like that, and not shy no more. So, you know, send me a DM at my Instagram at Live, Learn, Dream. And yeah, let's chat.
Love it. Thank you. So Live, Learn, Dream is her company, and I linked her website in the chat box. Thank you so much for sharing.
You're so welcome.
In her fashion, she has to hop off for a big client meeting, but still took the time to meet with us today. So good luck. I hope it goes great.
Thank you. Me too.
I'm sure it will. All right, awesome. So next up is Casey with Scrub Soaps. Casey is one of our Dallas members, moved in I believe April of 2021. They're a husband and wife duo selling homemade soaps, scrubs, face masks, and lip balms via Etsy.
Awesome. Thank you. I'm going to try to match C's enthusiasm. I know it's a tall order, but I'll do my best. Well, thanks for inviting me. I really wish my wife could also be on the call, but she's a nurse and she handles vaccinations at a local clinic for Dallas County, so she's extremely busy right now. But yeah, we joined Saltbox in April of, well, it was April of this year, but it feels like a long time ago because it completely changed our business. When we initially started, we were doing everything at home. We would, you know, make all our products at home. You know, it took over the entire house. Like we make a product called shower steamer, and it's like a really simple formula, but the ingredients get everywhere, right? So like we use mica, which is like a powdered colorant. So you'll see like sparkles on the couch, you know, in the living room from like making the product the previous night. And we'd have to have cleaners come in and, you know, clean the entire house on a routine basis. So it's like, we can't really conceivably continue to do this because we can't even like have dinner because we have just product containers and everywhere. Everything is just dominated by the business. So she found, it was probably the same thing, you know, great marketing. She found Saltbox and presented me with the idea. And, you know, for me, I was like, yeah, let's bootstrap, let's, you know, put it in the garage. And I even looked at like a portable trailer that we could hook up to like a faucet to like get running water. She was like, no, that's insane. So we went with Saltbox. We met with Kate and Elijah, and really loved the space. I love the idea. The community has been amazing. You know, just being able to network on the fly with people who are passionate about what they do. You know, work for themselves, even if they have, you know, a 9 to 5. Like you'll run into, you know, couples and partners that are there later, you know, in the afternoon pursuing their business and pursuing their dreams, and you know, you really root for each other to succeed. And having that type of community is something totally different from, you know, what I've had in the corporate world. Oh, I haven't even followed the questions here. So what is your favorite product that you sell? So my wife and I, like, we have different skills. She's more of the artisan, right? Like, if you see like a really unique soap idea or a new product idea, like we just launched a foaming body scrub, which is like a whipped soap combined with a sugar scrub. Like that's her realm, right? I'm like I'm kind of like workhorse oriented, so I'm like brute force. So I just charge through, and my product is a shower steamer, right? I like making the shower steamer because like you basically like take all the hard ingredients, like pound them into a hard pellet. It's kind of like a hockey puck that acts as a bath bomb in your shower, right? It's like super hard, but it gives your shower this amazing aroma, right? So it's this thing that kind of turns into a brick, but it can smell like hibiscus flowers at the end of the day. So that's my favorite product, and that's the one that I work on the most. Um, yeah, like otherwise, I like our body butters are really good. I use our cocoa butter every day. I use our beard oils. Um, what else? The bath bombs are great. I don't take a lot of baths. I'm a shower guy. I don't take a lot of baths, but our bath bombs smell really good. So yeah, my favorite products are probably the body butters and the shower steamers. Um, what would you
Casey,
say is your? Oh, go ahead.
can I ask you a quick question?
Yeah.
So, who would you say is your core customer, and how did you initially gain traction on Etsy?
So our core customer. Well, we do sell on Etsy, but we also sell at the Dallas Farmers Market every weekend. Um, so our core customer. I mean, it's hard to describe. Uh, because we sell person to person, like you build a different type, you get to see who will react to your products, right? And it's across the spectrum, right? Young to old, male to female. Like we have dudes that are hitting us up on Instagram for our activated charcoal soaps, and they'll come to the market specifically to get those, right? Guys that like our beard oil, right? Kids that love bath bombs. I had no idea that kids loved bath bombs so much, right? So we wouldn't, there are things that we wouldn't have known if we didn't sell directly to our customers, be able to, sit and talk to them. I would say our core customer is typically millennial female, um, who enjoys bath products, bath and body products, who's knowledgeable about ingredients that go into their products, or trying to avoid, things that contain too many chemicals and toxins. Um, so yeah, I think that there's a broad spectrum of customers that we serve, but I think our core customer is probably in that demographic.
Awesome. Thank you.
Hmm. Oh yeah, this okay. So super. I think I saw a question from Katie in the chat.
I was actually asking her, I was curious which soaps you sent to our Seattle members for their
Oh yeah,
mood.
it was our summertime splash soap. It's made with mango butter, so it has a really rich lather. It's scented with a fragrance that we got from Brambleberry. So we'll get box sets of fragrances. Sometimes we'll use individual fragrances and create combinations. Other times we'll get like a special set from them, and that was one of the special scents that we got. It really reminded us of like a summertime, a bright beachy type of scent. So that's why we use that in a soap. There's still some others that I'm hoping to introduce into a new body butter. Pear is a new scent that we're experimenting with. We've had a lot of great responses to our Anjou pear sugar scrub, and we're probably going to bring that into a soap very soon. So yeah, that it was our summertime splash.
Where do you
That
get
was the soap
your
that we introduced.
fragrances?
Some of them are combinations, like we'll experiment with different scent combinations. We'll look up like which scents complement each other. Other times they're custom scents that we get from Brambleberry specifically. And they'll have names like Love Potion, Cucumber Melon is one that's really popular. Honey Almond is really popular. But most of our products, we create the scent combinations. Like for our beard oil, there's about 5 or 6 different scents that make up our Pharaoh beard oil and our Texas cedarwood. So we had to go through, trial and error, like testing with our friends. One of my friends, I gave him a beard oil to test, and like while we were out, and like he came back and it was like, girls were rubbing my beard. And I was like, yeah, okay, this is a good one. Yeah, that's the one we're gonna use. So yeah, it's trial and error, and we will sometimes look on Pinterest and like see, if there's a scent combination that's out there that we like, and then tweak it, based on our personal preferences.
Cool. Thank you.
Cool. Superpower. All right. I keep trying to figure out what my superpower is. I think I would like it to be focused, but I seriously doubt that it is. I think my superpower is the ability to learn a task quickly and make it more efficient. So if I can understand like how to do something, then I'll try to break it down into its smallest parts and then try to maximize it so that there's as little time wasted as possible. So that's something. And if there's like a more efficient way to do something, I'll try to figure that out. So I think probably efficiency is my superpower. Okay, question and something that you would like to learn from our community at Saltbox. So our biggest question is around growth. Right now it's really hard to hire. It's becoming more and more difficult to find folks to really grow the company. So like, how have you handled the challenge of growth? I know Steve mentioned she's in a one-person show. So how do you handle growth, and what are your methods for overcoming the current hiring crisis? And I'll take the answer offline.
Great.
All right.
I think
I'll turn it over.
A common question that people have. So, yeah, thanks for sharing.
Mm-hmm. No problem. I got to plug in my laptop.
Yes. I was also going to say, I don't know if you can still hear me, Casey, but we have other webinars for the newer members that just joined. We record all of them, and then this one will be included. But you're welcome to look back and see some of the content we've shared. Some of them are around capital and growth and some marketing strategies. Not to mention, Tyler is an amazing resource as well. And he just offered, he's got office hours. I can send you the link. I'll send the link after this, actually. But he has office hours that he has booked on his calendar, just dedicated time for you guys to pick his brain on anything and everything. So that could be another time to work through those things. And if we have time, well, it would be great. I'm going to give a quick background. Tyler has a lot of knowledge just because he owned a e-commerce company himself. So for those of you that don't know him, please set up some time to meet with him. He's very passionate about all of the work that you guys are doing, which is essentially why Saltbox exists. So we're going to move along just for the sake of time, but thank you so much for sharing, Casey.
No problem.
Happy to have you here. Okay, up next, Arturo. Did I say your name correctly? Great. Arturo is with Triple D Gear. He's a Dallas member. And even though he's one of our newest Dallas members just moving in this month, he's already made quite the impression on the community with his big personality. So Triple D Gear is a streetwear brand representing the inner city of Dallas, Texas. Take it away.
Yes, well, hello. How are y'all?
Hello.
So just to kind of give you a long story, very nice and short. My background is recording engineering. back in 2005, I was doing music in Dallas, Texas, and we turned around and had a great movement in Dallas. And in the midst of that, either most of the songs that came out of Dallas within that time, which was what we call the boogie movement, was either recorded in my studio or they were my artists. In the midst of that, one of the things that we down here in the hip hop community, we've never, if y'all know the hip hop community, it's always in the 90s, it's always been about the East Coast and the West Coast. And the southern parts of the states never got recognized in hip hop. So the phrase dirty, dirty South came out to represent the hip hop culture from the dirty South. Meaning that we're from the third coast in the southern states of the United States of America. With that being said, me doing music, it mingled. And one of the things that we had as a city, every city had its own culture. For a long time, people never respected Dallas to have its own hip hop culture community. With that being said, even Houston had it, screw up music, Atlanta had it. Everybody had their own little it factor. So for us as a cultural movement, we created our own movement, which I know you guys, everybody's heard. Dallas has always been known to be called the Big D. And then, we've always had the sports, argument with Detroit, who's the Big D? We're the Big D, you're the Big D, all that good. So in 2005, we've changed the narrative. The hip hop community changed the narrative. So Dallas is not called the Big D no more. We're called the Triple D, due to the fact that we're from the dirty South. So it means dirty, dirty Dallas. Not to say that Dallas is dirty, but we're from the dirty South. So with that being said, the word Triple D was running around in our culture so much that everybody was trying to figure out what does Triple D look like? What does it mean? Or how does it feel? So with me being in the music industry, we were just playing around with my graphic designer. We created this logo, which is basically the 3 lines. And then we started playing with things in the middle of it. We put all kinds of little meaningful Texas things in the middle. And then we finally landed with the star. And then when we put the star, it kind of looked like the cowboy star. So I was like, you know what, Uncle Jerry Jones might be upset if we start using that. So what we did was we tilted it at a 90-degree angle. And when we did a 90-degree angle, it was like a moment of silence. It looked good. It just spoke to us in my office. And then, so at that point, music back when I was doing music, if y'all didn't know, there was a pandemic then in the music industry. And the reason was because it was a lot of, y'all remember Napster and LimeWire. So a lot of people were downloading, bootlegging music, knocking off music that the music industry wasn't making money on CD sales anymore, and hand over fist music anymore. So they were, scrambling to figure out how do we make money online. So recently, if you pay attention, all the apps just are all fresh apps. They just started in 2015 and 2016 of how to learn how to stream your music and how to learn how to, collect money off of streaming. So this is all new. With that being said, at that time, when I figured out we had good music, we were on the top, we had 4 top 40 records, but we weren't making the revenue that all our hip hop leaders were making that we got inspired us to do. So at that point, just being a businessman, I took the time out of doing music, and then I told myself, you know what, this logo and the representation of Triple D itself that represents the diversity and the culture of the city and the hip hop community, I think we have a niche with it. And I said, I'm gonna take a time out on music and teach myself fashion. So at that point, I put everything in the storage, all of my musical instruments in storage, and started working on developing a fashion brand that represents our culture, which then created Triple D Gear. And from there on, we've been growing. As we've been growing, we started in 2007, but and then incorporated in 2012, and then just started self-teaching myself of how to create fashion and getting into the industry and learning the industry. We were doing a great job. We've been marketing ourselves. I mean, you can name the biggest hip hop stars. They understand the culture and they support our culture. So you can just imagine, if you look at our social media, who we've done business with and who's collaborated with us. So with that being said, with this pandemic, we were in a small office, but we turned around, and with this pandemic, just trying to be on the safe side, we downsized. And when we downsized, I was like, you know what? Let me go ahead and put everything in the public storage and just work from home, just like everybody else is doing, just to be on the safe side. So we were doing it, and I made my garage my whole shipping department. And so for the whole pandemic, I was scared that we weren't going to do well, but on the opposite side, e-commerce actually took off, and we really did well. Unfortunately, we were already in the process of buying a new home and building our new home when we were in the midst of this pandemic, that we finally got our home built, and that's what we're in right now. And then when I moved here, I didn't want to make my media room into a shipping department. And then with the kids and stuff, it just been a whole lot of headaches. So I was telling myself, I'm like, man, you know what? I'm gonna go find me a fulfillment center. They say that the strongest muscle in your body is your tongue. So whenever you manifest something, it comes into existence, especially if you tuned into, whatever you believe in and the energy around you. With that being said, I spoke that up, and I went to go drop some packages off. And at the USPS, they had a sticker on the window, and it said, "You need help for fulfillment? Call us at this number." So I was like, what? I was like, man, right up my alley, because I ship with them, So I was like, let me just check it out. And I called it. And then the good guy, Aaron Sanchez, I was speaking to him, and I was telling him about what my situation was. And he explained to me about a fulfillment center in Addison, the closest one. And he told me a place named Saltbox. So I was like, all right, cool. So I gave Saltbox a call, set up a meeting. And I initially, with everybody promoting, it's always just been a warehouse for fulfillment. So I was like, all right, I'm thinking in my mind, I'm just going to walk into a warehouse. They have things, all they do is fulfillment. I actually walked in the meeting, and when I walked in, I was at awe. I was looking around, and I was just like, what is this? And I did the meeting, and then I sat there and asked Elijah when he was giving me taking me to the fulfillment center, and Daniel, and they actually sat down and explained to me what Saltbox was. So once I did the mini tour, I was just at shock, and I came home, and sure enough, I was debating it, if I really wanted to make that move. I had recently just had a shipment come in of 2 big pallets. And usually the carrier calls me about 20-30 minutes prior so I can meet them there, Unfortunately, he didn't call me. I had the kids. Wife went to the gym and to the grocery store. So I had all the kids. He calls me while he's sitting there. So I'm like, wow. So I had to gather everybody up, rush over there, and then sit there and sign off for the pallets. But the pallets were sitting outside the public storage. So make a long story short, it was a hassle of a day that whenever I finished doing what I was doing, I sat back and I thought about Saltbox. I was like, I remember them telling me that if the pallet comes there, they will receive it for me and put it in my in your suite, and just being that extra hand that you need, at times like this, So just make a long story short, it just kind of makes sense, and we, I'm a God-fearing man, so I prayed about it. And it just makes sense, and if the shoe fit, if that makes sense, and yeah, so that's why I'm at Saltbox. I'm excited. I just moved in Monday. I've been, it's the first of the month trying to take care of bills, and now my cars needs to be inspected, so I'm running around doing the inspections of the car, but I haven't been able to get settled yet, but I'm hoping to get settled this weekend. I'm glad to be able to get on this webinar to actually see who all the entrepreneurs are here. I'm an entrepreneur myself, so I'm always interested of just seeing who all created great things and making money off of it. I mean, it's America, and that's the American dream, to be able to be an entrepreneur and make your own, a self-made person, and that's an inspiration for all of us. So, with that being said, I'm happy to be here, and I'm happy to hear all y'all's story. I might be moving around a little bit because I got to go, but I definitely have my ear on listening to you guys because I'm very interested to see who all's doing what. But other than that, that's why I'm at Saltbox. My biggest my biggest, my best selling product is this, is hats. It was easy for us to do. We did do shirts, we did Letterman jackets, but learning the process of importing international was a tough process. For one, for two, just trying to be ahead. If y'all didn't know in fashion or even in general, once we drop products, you have to be 2 years, the standard, 2 years ahead on a calendar to understand what we're doing in a 2-year ahead advance, so we would know what we're about to market and what we're about to put out on the market. So with that being said, you learn in trial and tribulation that it was a little hard to try to learn it and keep up. That hats was just the thing. It was easy. It was easy to design. It was easy to ship. It was just that one product that everybody can commonly agree on, just depending on what style you wear. And it was just, it's the it factor. Now that we are in Saltbox and I have a little bit of help, now I'm about to step into the apparel side of it and really get in and 10 toes down with the whole apparel and go all out this time with the help of Saltbox. One of my biggest strengths is just being creative and just marketing. And being a social bird, and being able to communicate with people and learn other people's story and learn off of other people. And hopefully people can learn off of what I've done. I could go on and go on, but I like to talk and social talk a lot. So I'm gonna slow down a little bit and I'm gonna pass the mic to Katie or whoever else needs to be. But if y'all have any questions, please let me know. Welcome to Triple D, Dallas, Texas.
Yes. Thank you for sharing. It sounds like you have a big fan in Casey, another Dallas member. He said he wants one of your jerseys, and he sees your logo all over the city. So thank you.
Yeah.
Quick question before we move on. So you saw a flyer at the post office and you just called the number, but it was not a Saltbox flyer. It was just a random flyer for someone who worked for the post office.
Post office. Yeah.
Okay.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Good to know.
Right. You're right. I was telling the guys at the office when I signed my lease and everybody was there, the staff was there. And I was telling them it was a good marketing campaign because for one, with all due respect to new brands, sometimes the consumer is not familiar with the brand, that they might be naive about asking about it. If I would have saw a Saltbox fulfillment, I would have been like, who's that? Compared to, actually having USPS say that they offer fulfillment, and at that point, it made me pick up the phone and then they navigated me over to Saltbox. And then at that point, I was like, oh, and then, it's like the hook caught on, so a great marketing campaign, to be honest with you. It was genius, even if I don't know if I try to do it that way, but keep it that way, and I think I should be successful because if anybody's doing e-commerce, they're shipping their own stuff. So they're going to come across those ads and coming across their ads with the shipping department that they're using. So, it's a perfect marriage of marketing right there. Genius to me.
Love it. Well, thanks for sharing. Good luck with your move and let us know if we can help you at all in the process.
Thank you.
Okay, up next is Evas Wild. So Mark, another one of our new Seattle members, welcome. Don't tell anyone, I guess cat's out of the bag, but Casey, the manager in Seattle, is secretly obsessed with what you and your company are doing in the Bristol Bay area of Alaska. He was like gushing to me about everything. So, just striving for sustainability by, sourcing wholesome foods and the inspirational media you're putting out there and all of that. So very excited to hear from you and thanks for taking the time to share today.
Thank you so much. It is an honor to be here with you all. My name is Mark Titus and I'm the founder of Evas Wild. The word Evas is the word save spelled backwards. And ultimately my company came around as to answer a need that I was finding as a filmmaker. I've done 2 documentaries about Bristol Bay, Alaska, and primarily about and rooted in wild salmon, which is the most iconic animal species up here in our part of the world, here in the Pacific Northwest, what we like to call Salmon Nation, which is basically any part of the West Coast that is connected by salmon rivers. So you're talking about Northern California clear up to the top of Alaska, where Bristol Bay is located and where I just was last week. And so the need I identified was when I was taking my first documentary out around the country, and it's called The Breach. And it's kind of a big picture love story for wild salmon. And it's also a cautionary tale about where we're going to go from this point on, because we've essentially ruined wild salmon habitat throughout the world, in Europe, the East Coast of the US, now in the Pacific Northwest, and the last bastion of hope is in Alaska. So after people watch the film, they'd kind of get fired up. And it's now the same story with my second film, The Wild. People would get really fired up about it, and they'd say, what can I do to help? And I'd say, well, at the time, I didn't really have a turnkey solution. I'd tell folks to, write your lawmaker, write your representative, and give to your favorite NGO, your favorite nonprofit that's doing environmental work. And people would say, well, I've done that. What else can I do? I want to do something every day. And so what I really, after thinking about it and really discerning for some time, thought, the very best thing you can do, especially for Bristol Bay, is eat wild salmon from Bristol Bay. It seems a little antithetical that you would be eating something that you're trying to save. But the fact is that unlike other parts of the world, Bristol Bay is truly the most sustainable wild fishery on the planet. We just saw a return of another 62 million sockeye salmon to this system. That they come in of their own accord. There is no human interference at all. And all you have to do is show up and let enough go back up into the system to escape and spawn and make new babies and keep the cycle going. And then you're able to harvest on a sustainable level the rest. So what ultimately I thought the best way to do this was to package up an idea of selling the wild salmon from this area, delivering it in a way that it's obviously can be stable. So in our case right now, it's frozen wild salmon that arrives to people's doors, and pairing that with evergreen content, media content, certainly the two films that I've done, but also curating other people's incredible environmental work that they've done and creating a media platform that people can then be a member of and subscribe to. And so lastly, we're at some point in the process here, we're going to offer travel to the actual source point of the food and of the stories. So it's eat wild, see wild, save wild. That means if you eat of the salmon or of the food from the location, you're helping to save it. If you're watching the stories, you're getting the emotional resonance in the heart space to want to save it. And if you go there, like my wife and I were just there over our birthdays this last week, you become a lifelong champion. It's a place that is unbridled wilderness. This is something that Texans love to hear, but if you cut Alaska in half, Texas would be the third largest state. It's a place that is beyond your imagination. And so if folks actually go there, they will become a champion of it for generations to come. So all this to say, we sell wild salmon and we sell stories that you can watch on your television and on demand at home on any of your devices. And someday, hopefully soon, we'll be selling environmental and adventure travel to these places. So what brought me to Saltbox is I've had two office spaces. Yes, go ahead.
Good question. Tyler's curious, of the 62 million salmon, how many can you sustainably harvest per year from the Bristol?
Sure. This year's sustained harvest was 50 million. That's after they allow for the escapement to go through. So not a single net goes in the water until all of those salmon go through. And there's scientists on the ground, on the scene. I'm good friends with a lot of them from the University of Washington, who ensure that those fish are up there. They literally count them with a hand clicker, going past a counting station up into the river. Did that answer the question?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah. So, Saltbox, I had two previous places here in Seattle. One ended up kind of turning into a sketchier part of town. I got all of my camera gear stolen. It was a drag. The second one, which is the current one I'm moving out of now, is in a very nice part of town, but I got half of my camera gear stolen again, and it's just kind of the time we're living in. We're fast becoming a real big city. For the longest time, we've kind of been that town up in the upper left corner, and now we're becoming a big city, and we've got big city, issues just like everybody else does. But more importantly, the current place that I was in, it was designed as sort of a communal space for filmmakers. And at the exact time that I saw your Instagram ad, good job, great targeting, I had just been informed that the folks that own the building I was in were going to turn it into a nonprofit only for nonprofit causes and burgeoning filmmakers. I do film, but I'm a for-profit company rooted in, and I always forget the punchline here, everything that we sell at minimum of 1% pre-tax goes directly back to the tribes in Bristol Bay, who are the people that know best what to do with their land and what to do with the resource that's there. So we've been donating money since our inception to the United Tribes of Bristol Bay, and from this point forward, we're going to be donating to the Bristol Bay Education Foundation, which puts Indigenous people through four-year universities or trade schools. So I got out of this place that really was a nonprofit styled place to get into something that has, look, I'll just make it really simple. The ad, I got into the portal for Saltbox, and I was like, oh my God, why didn't I think of this? This is perfect. It's brilliant. I went down 2 days later. I met with your fab team on the ground in Soto here in Seattle, including Lucy, who's on the call here, and of course, Casey, as you mentioned. Went through a tour. Everybody was transparent, real. It wasn't an upsell. The space was beautiful. And most importantly, it was like, I have frozen fulfillment for my frozen salmon, but I've got a new product line that's going to be coming out with shelf stable stuff. And I service wholesale restaurant customers here in town. So we've got some James Beard award-winning chefs that I deliver to. And it was a pain in the ass getting things in and out of this other office. And like looking at where my actual office space in Soto Saltbox is 3 doors down from the roll-up door to the load-up zone. And it's just like, this is brilliant. It's heaven. So super stoked about that. It just made sense, kind of like Arturo was saying. Superpower, I guess I would say, it's my ability to what I would call slipstream and not get too attached to something, to stay resilient. I feel like I've been blessed to be able to make friends with people or connect with people in meaningful ways. And that is, people and relationships are by far what I value the most, both as a business and as an entrepreneur and as a person. And I guess lastly, before taking any questions, is what I'm hoping to learn from our community is how you've approached fundraising. I've had some success with kind of a traditional promissory note with a convertible note as an investment. And I am now contemplating finishing a seed round here with a equity funded round that I'm working on that would have, it would tie in my, you're the first to know, third movie in this trilogy that I'm doing as part of the ownership in this company. And yeah, I guess anybody that's had any experience with crowdfunding, equity crowdfunding. And that's it. That's my spiel. And I'm happy to be here. I'm grateful.
Thank you. Such an inspiring story. So thanks for sharing.
Thank you.
Yes, you're a great candidate for office hours with Tyler as well.
Thank you. I'd love to.
Once I get a minute here, I'm going to link Tyler's Calendly link for the office hours, just to make it simple. But if you want to follow up afterwards, you can do that as well. Alrighty, next we have culture greetings. Dion, hi. So Dion is a brand new Atlanta member. She just moved into one of our offices. So excited that you've joined us. Funny story, her sister actually checked out the Dallas location prior to her signing in Atlanta. So you guys never know who's coming in your door, is at your location, and you know who they might know. So Dion is a business psychologist as well as a business owner. So very excited to hear from you and your perspective and all the stuff you're working on.
Thank you. And I referred my sister, by the way. It was before I joined, but she is a marketer and she was looking for space for a couple of clients.
I got it.
So thank you so much for the warm welcome. I'm so glad to finally be here. I've been contemplating it for a while because I have a very eclectic background and I do a myriad of different things that seem like they're not connected, but they are. What undergirds them is efficiency, optimization of self, of systems, of purpose. As you mentioned, I'm an organizational psychologist. I'm also a psychotherapist. So I could definitely work with C on figuring out if she's ADHD. I started my career as a software developer. That's why I said it's eclectic. I've been in tech for the last 30 years. And I'll start with the end. I think my superpower is that I can use both sides of my brain, the left and the right. If I can think about it, create it in my mind, design it, I don't have to hire someone to build it. I can still write code with my eyes closed. So I can build what I dream. And because I dream a lot, I end up building a lot. I was looking for a space. I had an office for my therapy practice. And then with my org psychology practice, I do a lot of change management consultancy for huge tech initiatives, Delta Airlines, Southern Company, IHG. A lot of your large companies are clients of mine. Also work with them on well-being for their employees as well. And I needed some space. I had space for my therapy practice. I'm usually on the road for my consultancy. And then for culture greetings, which is one of the primary reasons I'm here, I already have a co-op printing press in Utah. And another one that I use in Florida. And I'm like, you know what? I need a space because I did want to centralize everything and bring culture greetings home here in Atlanta, as well as find something in close enough proximity where if I need to do some telehealth, mental health counseling, I have a white wall behind me and I can service my client. And then when I move the printing and the fulfillment here for culture greetings, it's like, I need to be able to run to that space, but I wasn't thinking that it could be one space. And so like a lot of other people, I started looking for a warehouse. And as you guys know, they're like, oh, we have 40,000 square feet available. Well, I don't need that. I just need a corner, or these places were in industrial areas that were not close enough to some place that I could put, a professional office. So this was just the perfect marriage. And like you, Mark, I was like, why didn't I think about that? So Culture Greetings is a greeting card platform that addresses the dearth of Black and brown imagery on the greeting card aisle. That's such a personal thing. And when you walk down the greeting card aisle and you're looking for a card for your mom, you want that person on the card to look like your mom, if there's a person on the card. And I'm a greeting card person. I send cards to clients, to friends. If you stumped your toe, Leslie, you're gonna get a card from me saying, girl, I'm so sorry you stumped your toe. I'm an empath. So it's like, I'm always thinking about people, and I send, I do a lot of relationship marketing with my clients. I'm always sending something. And through the years, I would design my own cards, and just mail them out. And I got tired of that. And I wanted to build a platform because I can, but I just, it overwhelmed me in 2018, and I decided to sit down, and in 6 months, largely doing most of the coding myself, I built the platform. It's a web to print API that allows you to go to the website, pick a card. You can write on the inside of it with handwriting fonts. They look like real penmanship. And when you specify your recipient at checkout, it cues an automated on-demand printing process that prints that card, scores it, folds it, inserts it inside of the envelope without a person having to touch it at all. We then mail it to your recipient. with a live stamp, not postal indicia. It looks like you really went to the store, came home with an ink pen, wrote inside whatever the sentiment is. One of our value propositions is that a lot of the cards have real art. Mr. Steve Allen, a very well-known artist here in Atlanta, his work's in the permanent collection of one of the Smithsonian museums. He was the first African-American artist for the Olympics. He's one of the artists. Jesse Rodales is one of our Latino artists. He was the first Latino artist for the Olympics. Specifically, he's Mexican-American. He does a lot of great pieces in Abu Mwenye. He's a Tanzanian artist. His work's on the card. And even I designed some, and my nephew designed some. I have 2,000 SKUs of cards. Like I said, you can even add a gift card inside from Target, Amazon, all of that. It's like a one-stop shop. And you can even send in bulk. If you need to send 100 cards at once in one session, you can get your cards out. You can, if you need to send a card to multiple people with different addresses in one session, you can get your cards out. Our technology can handle the individual enveloping without a lot of error. We have probably, I think we probably, through the last 3 years, have probably only messed up addresses twice on hundreds of thousands of cards. And then last October, one thing that I'm really proud of, because so many people kept saying, I love these cards, but I don't always need to mail it. Sometimes I'm going to see the person. And I knew that I wasn't in the space mentally or even with my time to figure out retail relationships and getting on shelves. And so what I did was integrate it with Walgreens. So through their API, they have a print API, we connect with Walgreens. So one of your delivery options is, again, picking the card, personalizing on the website, writing inside or leaving it blank. And then you specify that you want to pick up at Walgreens. They have 9,000 locations in the US, so you can go pick it up. The commitment is same day, but usually they have it ready within the hour. We also have done some celebrity partnerships. Charlie Wilson wanted to promote his music with cards. So in 8 days, he contacted us and he contacted me and said, hey, I want to promote my song Forever Valentine for Valentine's Day, called 8 days before Valentine's Day, by the way. But we got it done. And then he came back with some birthday cards and some Mother's Day cards. So he's one of the celebrities who has a brand on the site. We're going after some more. And then I expanded into gift bags and gift wrap. So I have some other products because I wanted to pivot to add some additional things that have like really good imagery, really nice art. So, you know, we have a lot of other stationery and gift packaging products. I'll be presenting to Home Shopping Network tomorrow from right here in the office in QVC. So y'all wish me luck. It's just a 15-minute pitch, but I'm determined to close that deal because that's what I do. Another thing that we did recently that I'm really proud of is it's called Voices. It's a platform for social justice causes. And last year, you know, when there was a lot of racial unrest in the country, you know, there's to change.org petitions and other means of actually drawing attention. But there's nothing like sending stacks of paper, especially a postcard, because you can't get around that. It's not like you have to open an envelope. So for Justice for Elijah McClain, Justice for Matthew Russian, Justice for George Floyd is the one that we recently finished. We sent over 100,000 postcards to various officials regarding some change maker campaign that several activists started. So I created a separate platform called Voices that would, you know, allow you to use the same technology that we have on Culture Greetings, but specifically think of change.org, but for petitions that are postcards that are being mailed. So launched that in beta with the George Floyd campaign. And for that one specifically, we sent about 35,000. And then prior to that, about over 75,000 doing that one on the Culture Greetings platform. And it got a lot of recognition. We've had those campaigns featured on Good Morning America, TMZ, and other platforms. So that's Culture Greetings. You know, for entrepreneurs working on doing, so you can do it now with the platform. It's a little manual, but, you know, for small business relationship marketing campaign, the suite of APIs and tools that I have can easily allow you to create triggers for your e-commerce site, if a customer hasn't been to the site in a while or purchased from you in a while, you could, send a postcard in the mail to say, hey, haven't seen you in a while. Remember us? Whatever you want to say to them, or even sending out your holiday mailings for your customers. So that's something else that we can offer as well. So that's me, a little bit about my background and what I do. I'm so excited to be here. As I found out about Saltbox, but it was, in the pandemic, and I was kind of hesitant. And I initially was thinking warehouse. So I was looking for the culture greeting space and wasn't thinking about the office side. I kind of walked through this side really fast, wasn't thinking that, oh, you know what, I can just move everything here. And then I had an epiphany and called and said, hey, I think I should have probably rented that space. And they're like, oh, we don't have space. And so every week I kept going to the website, looking to see if there was anything available. And then I saw it popped up again. A space was available, and I called and I said, hey, I want that space. And they're like, it's an office. And I'm like, well, I'm on my way with the check. I just want to get in the building. I just want to be a part of the ecosystem. And Leslie would tell you, I was annoying the heck out of them, probably. Like, look, I was all on Instagram, like, all I want is my move-in date. Like, can we get the move-in date? So so excited.
Hey, Dion, I am terribly sorry to cut you off. I want you to keep talking. I just want to say to everyone on the call, we may get cut off.
Okay.
And if we do, thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm so inspired and just love these so much. But anyway, keep chatting. We did not get to Katura, everyone. Katura is right here in the middle. If you want to wave, her company is called Tori Squared. I'm just going to share her website and then we'll get to her next time. But okay, carry on. And just in case we get cut off, I just wanted to kind of say goodbye and thank you.
No, but let Katura start. I'll make office hours. What I am really interested in leveraging everyone's expertise on, we know that Instagram has pivoted and all the platforms really now are so video focused. So that level of production and social engagement and outreach, as well as funding, like I said, I started my career in tech and I worked with a lot of startups, and even starting my own, I did the whole funding round, the first iteration of the .com boom. Got very disappointed, with all the successful companies that I launched and things that I built not being able to get funded. So I really wanted to just kind of shy away from that. But if there are any alternative, funding avenues, I'd love to talk to Tyler about that, his thoughts on scaling and amplification. So
great. Thank you so much for sharing. And again, I'm sorry, Katura. I will say she has gorgeous swimsuits that I wish I could wear because they're not a lot of fabric to them, but they're amazing. So, all right. Anyone have any questions before we hop off for any of the panelists? All right, everyone, take care. Have an awesome afternoon and we'll talk soon.
Good to meet you all. Thank you.
Yeah.
Likewise.
Thanks, everybody.